Hey y'all, Janice on the mic, back with another video. This is gonna be a shorter video, but I felt like it was necessary to come up here and just talk about how it's okay to stand, how it's actually, I wanted to come up here and just talk about how we should all be okay with admitting and acknowledging the moments and points in our lives when we've been wrong and when we've made mistakes. And so, as some of you may know or may not know, I've been making videos on YouTube since 2011. So it's been 11 years since I've been on this platform. And I feel like 65 to 70% of the things that I believed and the thoughts that I expressed on this platform, no matter how sort of clumsily I express them, I still feel that way. But there is like that 40 to 30% of the stuff that I've shared and made videos about, it doesn't necessarily reflect the same way that I feel now in 2022. So I felt like there are a few videos that I wanted to make, I don't want to say correction videos, but just kind of like an I stand corrected type of video. So back in 2017, so 5 years ago, I made this video right when Trump was going into office, right? I made a video that focused on what has Obama done for Black people. And I just have to first say that as a first generation American whose parents immigrated here from West Africa, I think that a lot of us, immigrants and the children of immigrants, have had such a strong affinity toward Barack Obama and his family. I think many of us could relate in different ways to the immigrant struggle and the things that Barack Obama went through. And I feel like that the relatableness of former President Barack Obama somewhat blinded many of us to the things within his administration that were problematic. And so this video is not going to be like an unpacking of the problematic things that took place under former President Barack Obama, but rather me sort of acknowledging that though there were policies that were implemented by Obama's administration that helped Black people, there were also many practices that took place during the 8 years that Obama was in office that I don't agree with. And I'm comfortable now, years later, after taking time to reflect and listen to the thoughts and opinions of other people, I've been able to sort of reflect and say, although I personally like Barack Obama as a person, I love his family, there were things that, again, I don't agree with. One of the main things is that I feel like there were moments when former President Obama had the opportunity to open up conversations about race and specifically anti-Black racism. And I understand that as the first Black president, there were a lot of barriers in his way, and there were a lot of sort of impasses that were put in front of him that prevented him from actually making systemic changes in multiple ways. But I do feel like there were really important moments in American history when we could have had these conversations and we could have really opened up a dialogue about anti-Black racism and discrimination and the history of anti-Blackness in this country. And I think that there were missed opportunities. There's a number of other sort of things that happened during Obama's 8 years in office that I'm not, again, going to dive into, but a really great video that I watched and a really great channel that I follow is FD Signifier. So FD Signifier, I'll link his video above, but FD Signifier did a really thorough sort of analysis and unpacking of Barack Obama and his presidency, the highs, the lows, all of these things. And I think that my feelings are very similar to a lot of the sentiments that FD Signifier discussed in his video. And again, I really wanted to come up here and just say, it's okay to stand corrected. It's okay to make a video and years later or even months later kind of come back on here and say, hey, I was wrong about some things. And though I really appreciate, there's many things about Barack, and I really admire Michelle there's a lot of things that I admire about them as people, but when we're dissecting his terms in office, I think that there were a lot of things that happened during his term that, again, I don't necessarily agree with. And I wanted to, rather than like just going and deleting the video, which I was kind of tempted to do, I think it's important. One of my best friends, shout out to my best friend Kim, one of my best friends had actually said, when I asked her this years ago, she probably doesn't even remember, but I asked her years ago if I should just delete all the videos on my YouTube channel and start over. And she's like, no, because it shows your progress. You've literally been on here for 11 years. Of course, the ways that you think are not going to stay the same, right? And I know I've talked about this before. I used to make a lot of videos about interracial dating and my thoughts about that. And like at this point in my life, I don't really care. Whoever a person chooses to love, I have my feelings. But again, that doesn't matter. I think that I don't want to spend energy and time focusing on those sorts of things. But 11 years ago, you know, especially when I was single, before I was married, and before I was dating my now husband, I think that those conversations were more interesting to me. But I think it's important as humans that we acknowledge when we're wrong, acknowledge that it's okay to have one mindset or have one viewpoint, and after you're presented with new information, you can change your stance. And I actually think that that's admirable. So I just wanted to come up here and say we need to be having these moments of introspection more. And whether it was an article that you wrote or a post that you made, rather than sort of deleting it, you know, which is what I was tempted to do. I was like, let me just delete all my videos and start over. I have some videos that I just have decided to keep on my YouTube channel because I think it represents who I was in that moment. And it's okay to say, the way that I thought has evolved, and my thinking about this particular stance or this particular topic has evolved. So that's all I wanted to come up here and say. And particularly when it comes to President Obama, I have a lot of respect for him. I greatly revere him, but I also acknowledge that there were a lot of things I don't agree with and I didn't agree with. And that's okay to say, and it's okay to say I've evolved. And I thought one way, and now I've evolved in my thinking. So I just wanted to come up here really quickly and say that, and say thank you all for those of you who've been riding with me since 2011. I cannot express how much I appreciate your support, how much I love you all. I know that like I've been so inconsistent over these years with YouTube and YouTube videos and all of that. I feel like a large part of it was because a lot of my videos were like, I don't want to say they were censored, but the topics I was talking about 7 years ago, 8 years ago, 10 years ago, talking about race and racism was not like popular on YouTube. So I feel like my channel has gone through so many sort of ups and downs and iterations. But I do feel like, if anything, if no one watches this video, it's still cathartic for me to like come up here and have this conversation into a camera. And I appreciate you all for following, for listening, for watching this video. But that's where I'm gonna leave this video off. But again, thank y'all so much. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up for more engagement. And I will check y'all out in the next video.